Okay. Welcome to Three Dead Babies podcast. I am Vampire Jesus. This is
Co-host.
And we have an assortment of stuff we're going to talk about today. We're going to try and cover as many subjects as we can. We've got 10 in total, but we're going to be covering all sorts of stuff, everything from like time travel to Trump to
Putin. It's just Russian Trump.
We're going to try and do as much stuff as we can, but we're going to start off with some basic stuff. And I think a really good one to start off with is the Bill-C11, because that one is going to really affect all of us if it passes. If it passes. So Bill-C11 is a Canadian bill which essentially creates a government control, censorship, whatever you want to call it, over all media that's accessible online for Canadians. And that is really bad for obvious reasons, because then the government can take what you see online. You also can't see any news media that isn't approved by the Canadian government from any other nation.
Oh, my turn.
Well, talk.
Yeah. So, and the way I think we're going to be diving really deep into the language that things like Bill C11, C16, even the Restriction Act, they write them as catch-alls. They're super vague. They're not fully defined. Ours are a little bit closer than the Restricted Act, but it's definitely encroaching, and they continue to take more and more away from our freedom to create and to speak.
Because and here's the thing: you're saying that they're like purposely written. What's the word you used?
Catch-alls. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's similar to the TikTok bill, right?
Yeah.
If you looked at the TikTok bill, nowhere in the TikTok bill does it ever mention TikTok.
Yeah, because it's illegal.
Oh, is that what it didn't write it in?
Yeah, it's super illegal.
It's super illegal to just mention it.
To mention TikTok, absolutely. And these aren't overly easy subjects to navigate, but there's things that socially as a whole, both the modern West in general should be, as a society, should be starting to take a little bit more stock in. It's hard to kind of process those bills. It's hard to listen to people speak. They use a lot of jargon,
and all that's done on purpose.
Because it is by design, because you want to turn off your audience so that you can just do whatever you want. So you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And we've kind of put ourselves now into this predicament with the social media monster, that if we were to kind of say, you know what, as a society, we don't want social media anymore, it would be even easier for them now to push things through without public interference or public, maybe opinion would be a better word.
Well, that's exactly how they do it, right? Yeah. In those bills, like for instance, I think it's the Restrict Act, right? That's the TikTok one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that one, it's said to stop. On the media, in the news, they're saying it's to stop Chinese spyware, essentially. Yeah. Right? They're using that. They're using fear mongering. But if you actually look at it, it's saying like banning VPNs.
Which is horrible.
And like China doesn't even ban VPNs, and they have like that Great Wall of Firewall thing. But like, it's true. You never heard of it? Yeah. No, you never heard that?
The Great Firewall?
The Great Firewall of China, yeah. So like
they're way ahead of their time.
They are so way ahead. But like they have that shit set up so that like the internet is essentially Chinese centralized. But they don't even ban VPNs.
Yeah.
But in the Restrict Act, they want to ban VPNs. And if you're caught using a VPN, it's $250,000 fine. Yeah. That's insane.
Or a huge prison sentence. Yeah. And I mean, that kind of shows. I mean, take away the political charged motivation. You can take away a lot of those aspects and just look at the bones. Having something that is that intense in a catch-all is terrifying. It's terrifying for citizens. It's terrifying for everybody. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we've created those so that we can have some privacy, because the cyber sector is just so ever-changing, and online fraud and scams are so prevalent and hard to manage, because there's thousands of people doing it. Now you're taking stuff into your, kind of into your own hands. You're trying to protect yourself. You want to have some privacy, which I think lots of us do.
That's why a lot of people got VPNs in the first place, was to get privacy.
Yeah.
From
Big Brother.
Trackers, Big Brother, whatever you want to call it. And not necessarily their own government, but other governments, right? It's well known that like China, for example, will do cyber attacks on individuals in the West. But, there's...
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
We don't want this to be like one side of the world against the other. Everybody...
But it's a comparison. You have to compare.
That's fair.
You have to.
But both sides, to some degree, are guilty of sharing that information to who will ever benefit them the most. Right? We know that Facebook, Google, all of those apps, everybody data mines because they want to tailor
their ads.
They want to tailor their work and their wear to their customers and push their numbers and generate revenue to be filthy rich.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is probably not super insidious, but when we start outpacing ourselves with technology and we start getting big, heavy $250,000 fines, jail time because you have
it goes up to $1 million fine,
which is insane.
Yeah.
And like we don't have that money.
No one has $1 million.
No, and they're not just going to gouge the rich or gouge somebody who's talking against them.
They're probably they're going to do. They've done this before. Remember, like 10, 20 years ago, when online piracy was a thing, and people were like pirating games or movies.
Yeah.
And people were getting these fines for pirating, like on fucking Pirate Bay or LiveWire or whatever it was called.
Yeah, LimeWire.
LimeWire, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing. It's not going to be actual people who are causing problems with these VPNs. It's going to be some dude's kid who's like 16 years old, knows how to use NordVPN.
Yeah.
And will just like get their parents a fine for $250K.
Yeah.
It's going to be people like that they're going to attack because that's normally the people that get attacked by these type of things.
But then they also have the ability to censor if those stories get released or not.
Well, absolutely.
That's a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah.
I think that we got a little bit more towards the restricted bill as opposed to C11, but
it's the same vein.
There's some very strong similarities, and again, it goes back to censorship. And I think one of the things that when they put this information out to the public, especially through mainstream media, they always market it as this is for you, this is for the Canadian consumer, this is to better you. But they eliminate a lot of the context that's going to come with that. Or even if it's just the potential downside or potential consequences, they're not discussed. And then as a society, we end up pushing things through, or they push things through. And then we have all this fallout to deal with shit after the fact. And we're firing from the hip all the time. And it causes a tremendous amount of problems in the future. And I mean, even going to the catch-alls. It is a hard road to navigate, but take the time to make sure that it's ironed out. Weigh the pros and cons. Get professionals. Companies like Google hire people that like to read because they know when they launch stuff like this, they can find a way to... Loopholes to work within the bounds of their company to continue to make profits.
Well, yeah.
But we don't have those teams. We don't necessarily have that time. And it's brutal to get through. Reading any kind of document sucks.
Well, any like terms and copyright and all those type of things.
Yeah,
The terms and services ones.
Yeah.
This is like fucking like what, 300 pages? Nobody's gonna read that.
Nobody. Yeah. But there are people out there, and massive companies with millions and millions and millions of dollars. Well, now billions because
millions means nothing now.
Yeah, it's insane. But they pay people to read those,
yep.
But the public doesn't have that same ability, and it does fall on us. We have to have some accountability in these situations because it is public access. Reading terms and services about your apps, your phone, even like your consoles, all that stuff. And I mean, if people actually took the time to read it, it would be horrifying to lots of us. It's crazy.
You mentioned something about your apps and consoles. I saw in the news recently, the FBI or the CIA, one of the two, they're basically the same at this point. Yeah. They were trying to get Xbox Live chat logs. And Microsoft said no to them, which, you know, shout out to Microsoft for saying no, but it's just like, it's such a minute thing, and they're going in there looking for something to grab someone with.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, the focus is on the like, we have that technology, we have all those resources, but why is crime so prevalent? And I know a lot of people will discuss, well, you know, crime rates overall have dropped, and depending on who you talk to, but I mean, there's a lot of serious stuff we know that's going on that isn't being dealt with, and we have all the information there to move forward. So it's nuts. And then to Microsoft, it's awesome that they said no to the FBI, but I know, like, setting up accounts, like, they'll hound you for every bit of information they can get.
Oh, absolutely.
You. Like Microsoft individually.
You want to know
I
what?
love Microsoft. They're amazing. Please keep making video games. And Valheim is the best thing that was ever created. That good? It really is amazing. But I mean, the people have to start standing up and very politely saying, "Go fuck yourself. Yeah. Stop doing this. You know, you have enough. We pay you lots. You guys make billions, again, billions with a B. Enough is enough. You don't need to have all my information. You don't need to know what I want to buy for my kitchen or what clothes I'm going to wear. Just keep making great video games and fuck off with all the rest of it."
But see how you're saying fuck off with all the rest of it, right? And you want them to fuck off and all that shit. But that's what VPNs were for originally, was to tell them to go fuck off. But now you see that the government is just like, no, we absolutely want to see what you're doing.
Yeah. And that's gross.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can understand the argument, right? But it's part of the human, like, let us have some privacy. We're allowed to have some privacy. You know, not everyone is going to be this insidious monster. And when they pitch it like everyone is doing something bad, you start to hate your neighbor.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Finish what your thought.
No, but that's the whole in a nutshell, right? It turns into propaganda.
You want to hear my conspiracy theory on that shit?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you know how recently the Pentagon leaks, right?
Yeah. Like,
that had been leaked, in January, maybe even earlier. They just found out about it, right?
Yeah.
But they're saying now that I'm positive that there's a connection to it, okay? So they bring the bill out to ban, again, I'm talking about the US, but again, it applies to Canada too. So they bring the bill out to the Restrict Act, right? A lot of people start being against it, right? Yeah. Because it's no longer, like, even normal people realize it's not necessarily just about TikTok or whatever. Yeah. Isn't it funny that at the same time that starts happening, a Pentagon leak that apparently is super dangerous for everyone involved gets leaked on a Minecraft Discord server. Yeah. Which is something that people use, again, VPNs to always access. Yeah. Like, there's no way that that's not connected in somehow.
Well, I mean, it seems hard to believe, right? Like, and a lot of it's a world that most of us don't know. We don't know all of the technical in and outs of how the internet works and how VPNs work, and like some of us do, but the general public probably doesn't. You know, if we see a word come up like it's encrypted, we think we're safe. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Uh-huh. And like, there's apps that have that you know, you're communicating and it says it's totally encrypted, but I mean, they're owned by a company that we know sells your information. Mm-hmm. So are they really, you know, who has access to that? It's all fucking nonsense.
And one more point about the Restrict, then we can move on after.
Yeah. I don't think we did anything about the C11. We should probably maybe dive into
it. We can go back to it.
We got excited about the Restricted.
Yeah, just because there's a lot of stuff to complain about.
Yeah.
Another thing they can do with that one, they can seize money that you receive.
Yeah.
Bitcoins too, crypto and money.
Yeah,
they can seize it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and like, that's all of your sponsorships, any ads, and there's no hard line, right? It's this vague ether of legal jargon. So they can come in and punk whatever you said and then just hide behind this catch-all. And that's why catch-alls in law
shouldn't exist.
They shouldn't exist.
Law should be very specifically.
Yeah, and like, when they started writing laws, that's why it's so hard to fucking get through that shit. Yeah. But it's made so that you cannot go in or out of those lines. They made a big bubble. Mm-hmm. that's just going to scoop up everything. And if they don't like you or if you talk against them, imagine if this came out and had passed and then we had COVID and you're not allowed to have an opinion. How many people would be in prison right now?
A lot. There's already a lot of people in prison because of what they said about COVID.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't want to dwell on COVID, but I mean, a lot of that information is coming to light as being accurate from reliable sources.
Yeah.
But you can't have, again, and it's infringing on language, and it's something that we should all be really, and I know that it's hard for some people because, you know, maybe you're the subject of bullying, or you've dealt with verbal harassment, or you've seen someone that's been a victim of those behaviors. But the opposite side of that coin is so much more devastating if we're not allowed to speak, if we're not allowed to have an opinion, if we're not allowed to have a voice. That's the only thing we will ever have for power is a voice. So that we can communicate and we can voice our opinion and we can talk about how these things affect our lives. Well,
see, the thing is, you're saying that the only thing we have is our voice, but if you look at some place like France...
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they're talking. I think they're acting.
Yeah,
right?
that's fair. That's fair. I would like to lean into only having the voice, you know, before things get, because those things, everybody loses. Everybody, you know, like everybody loses. There's not going to be this great resolution. You know, the line France is on, and I know that's one of our topics to talk about. And again, like, the governments just shoot from the hip constantly. We need money. But we don't talk about how much they've gotten a raise, how much they're making, them scaling back on any level. We don't talk about other means.
Or where that money's going.
Or where that money's going. You know, you don't want to be transparent.
When you have black budgets of trillions, literally trillions of dollars.
And I mean, more and more of that information is coming out from reliable, credible sources, actual journalists.
Yeah.
Real journalists that know what they're doing, trying to get the facts, the actual story, that are putting, in a lot of these cases, their lives on the line. and that's crazy.
They'll end up suicided.
Yeah. Tied to a tree.
Stabbed 37 times. Shot twice.
No gun at the scene. You know who you are.
Yeah. Looking at you, you saxophone playing bastard.
Yeah. It wasn't him. He's innocent. But it's crazy. And we do have actions. But I mean, you know, we've been around for so long. Like, it's nuts that we're still here. I was doing a job for a client. We dug up papers from 1947. And it's all, man, it's, you know what? The government is they know everything they need to know about marketing. They know a pile about psychology. But they're lazy AF. Because all of the problems from 1947, exact same fucking problems we're having right now.
Absolutely.
You have medical outbreaks. You have nurse shortages. You have problems with schools. You have problems with food.
You don't think it's a little weird that those problems always come back?
They always come back. And I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. And again, like, but as a society, we have to have some accountability for what's going on. We've become lazy, you know, and
do you actually think the individual has become lazy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, do you think there's a generation for that?
Yeah.
Which generation
I think
is
it's two generations. It's my generation and then the one below me.
Your generation?
Yeah, absolutely.
So people 35 and under?
Yeah. Why do you have to drop my age on the...
Because they need to know what that means. That's fair. You know, on one day you look at you look 20, another day you look 57. Yeah. So
fuck you. I never look 57. No, but I think a lot of that happened with You're Special. All that stuff in
You're special? What do you mean you're special?
The Sesame Street, You're Special. You matter. You're important. All this stuff catering to you and like pacifying people that like the world is this like beautiful place, which it can be, but you also have to teach those people that sometimes things are hard. Sometimes people will have a difference of opinion, and that doesn't mean that they're against you, but they're allowed to have their own understanding of how the world works and how their environment has affected them.
So I know what kind of people you're talking about. Okay.
No, I mean, that's like a general sense of people.
You mean that about everybody?
Everybody. And I'm like, for our generation, and I mean, if you look at it, like the 80s and 90s kids, there's a lot of the same, and that's almost historically kind of a pattern that goes like
Yeah, there's always
how
a
you're
pattern.
raised, and then the majority of the
So-
populace, what they're dealing with, and that just carries
So,
on.
like you said, there's a pattern. There 100% is a pattern. It's been observed multiple times and studied. So the pattern is great hardship, one group, and then great hardship. These people work harder to allow these people to have a better life.
Yeah.
These ones then create a weak generation, which then force a strong generation to appear.
Yeah.
This is observed throughout all of history.
Absolutely.
And documented. So this is a cycle. And basically everything related to humans is a cycle, but that's a completely other completely other subject. But I don't know.
That's fine. But I think that the problem that we're facing now is that technology has surpassed our ability. So that's the curveball to where we are.
Technology has surpassed our ability. What do you mean by that? That's like a really bold statement.
AI is generating things and writing its own programming.
Bro. Okay. I was so hoping you'd talk about AI.
Okay.
So I had a very long discussion about AI.
Yes.
And I learned some things by just talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enlighten me.
The AI that we have now, like ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
is very impressive looking
Yeah.
at it on surface level.
Yeah.
It's not intelligent.
But the other side of that is that that's what we have access to and is public knowledge, right? Is chat.
Yes. I understand that the government has, or the military has some.
Or corporations. That's the scary part. That
Corporations that are related to the military.
Yeah, well, they can operate outside of regulation.
Yeah, anyone that operates outside of regulation. But yeah, so for people who don't know, the government or the military, whatever you want to call it, has technology that's approximately 40 to 60 years ahead of what we have. That's kept secret. Anyway, that's an established rule. But we're talking about ChatGPT right now. So you want to talk about that stuff? I'm more than happy to talk about it.
You can't make it too hyper specific to what ChatGPT. If you think about ChatGPT as it is now.
Okay, well then you want to talk about just AI in general?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about AI in general.
I'm okay with either.
Okay, well, I can point out ChatGPT, or I can point out Mirror AI, or I can point out AI. But that is one of them. It's AI. It's really, really fucked up. But essentially, all major AI programs, okay, aren't intelligent. What they can do is they can scour the internet unbelievably fast, read millions of articles, files, essays, whatever the fuck, and then compile that and summarize it. Now, that's basically what ChatGPT is. That's basically any of those ones are. If we're talking about one like Mirror AI or the anime AI, whatever the fuck it's called, those ones, they just do the exact same thing, but they're essentially filters. Like on images. Like GIMP 2.0 and Photoshop had the turn your photo into a cartoon filter like 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
It's not impressive. But because it's so accessible now, it looks impressive. And people who have no idea when it comes to art or, programs are unbelievably amazed at what it can do. But it's not impressive at all.
But how close do you think it is, or what would the degrees of separation be from that compiling and understanding that information? Because it has to have some ability to understand that information or your prompts to becoming sentient.
Quantum computing.
But
that's the line. If it can do quantum computing, which it can't, an AI cannot. Okay, that's another thing. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's very, very fun to think about. An AI cannot be more intelligent than its creator, just by base default, unless you bring in quantum computing. That's. But we don't have quantum computing in a general access. I'm sure the government has it. But
because if you think about 60 years,
we'll have it in 60 years. So they must have it. So they must have AIs that are capable of it.
We will have it in way less time than that.
But the AIs that we have access to, general population, they're not smarter than you. Period. They just know how to summarize stuff. And you know what? It's not that complicated to program, especially if you have a large group of people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, fair enough. If you have a large group of, but
And
everything
I
is
don't-
simple if you have a large group of people that know what they're doing.
No, but when I say a large group, I mean like 10 guys who
Yeah.
are like autistic when it comes to fucking programming.
Yeah.
They can do it.
Yeah.
You know, is Minecraft artificial intelligence?
I don't know.
Well, it generates.
What a horrible example.
No,
I
it's
just
not.
talked about Valheim. Why wouldn't you just plug Valheim?
Valheim is also a
That
good
we're not
example.
getting sponsored or paid for.
Any of those
Yeah.
games that do random
Yeah, the
terrain
seed-
generation.
Yeah,
that
call
can
them
do
seeds.
Yeah, they can do seeds, random terrain generation. They can do random enemy generation.
Yeah.
All those are AI, which some are arguably more impressive
yeah,
than like mirror AI. Mirror AI is strictly a filter.
yeah,
The Minecraft seed generation is way more impressive. Yes, it's programmed, but so is mirror AI. Valheim and its enemies and any other game that has like really intelligent enemies or
yeah.
terrain or whatever, it's all programmed to be like that. Just like ChatGPT, just like all those other ones.
Yeah.
It's not intelligent. It just imitates intelligence by being able to scour the internet really fast and just summarizing stuff.
But that's the exact same thing that we do.
Yes, that's what I mean.
But
The AI cannot be smarter than
So-
its creator.
But its access and ability to process that information would give it an advantage.
Would give it an advantage. Yes, it
So-
would.
And that's what I mean. So, like, if ChatGPT and me were in a race to learn everything about quantum physics and
You would
dynamics,
learn it. It wouldn't. It would just repeat everything that's known. You could create new things.
but I would still be going off of that
It
information.
would take
I
you.
don't think I'd be creating new things. I
No,
would just be
no, but
smoking
I'm
a lot of
just someone who's really smart.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're dumb, but I mean someone who's really good with.
You're taking a lot of digs at me.
You can take some at me too.
No, fuck you.
Thank you.
Damn it. I had a backup. Cut me off. Damn it. Slope.
So, like someone who's well versed in quantum science or
Yeah.
whatever subject you want, right? It can be fucking geology. It doesn't matter. It might
Which is
take
also very cool science.
yes.
Yeah.
It might take them 10 years to figure out or to learn what the AI will take 30 seconds, right? But the AI in 10 years will not learn anything new unless it's published by a human. So the AI cannot be smarter than humans at this level.
At this level. Currently,
Currently, yeah.
in mainstream media.
In mainstream media, yeah. So the human, in this case, the geologist, is more intelligent than the AI.
Yeah.
It's
well,
just
I can
slower.
also, like, do stuff.
Sorry, what can do stuff?
The geologist.
Yeah, the geologist can do
Because he has
stuff
a body.
and can learn new things.
Yeah.
Talking about bodies and AI, have you seen the Boston Dynamics robots?
No.
You never seen those?
What? Where is this conversation going?
Bro,
Should
the
we-
Boston Dynamic robots. Okay, those things are awesome.
is
They're
this like a fembot or like Terminator?
closer to Terminator, but works for Amazon.
Okay.
There's also, you want to talk about like weird, scary robots? They have a robot now that fuels itself on biomatter. That's terrifying. We're made biomatter. It eats biomatter.
No shit. But that's what I mean. Like, and I mean, going back to the mainstream, I'm going to just keep fucking playing the devil's advocate and hammering my point home. Going back to quantum computing that
Yeah.
we may or may not have right now. We definitely don't have anything super accessible to the mainstream.
Yes.
But like an Ultron scenario is super realistic.
No.
Yes, it is. In the discovery of quantum computing.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's a base or a lab. It can easily.
Once a robot can teach itself. Am I using the right word right now? Once a robot can reprogram itself, teach itself, learn new things about itself,
Yeah.
then it can be somewhat dangerous. But the same, unless it's like hyper advanced
Yeah.
already, you can just, same thing with cyberbullying. You can just gone, like
But again, like its ability to become it doesn't need a lot.
it needs quantum computing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So
Okay.
if that is invented, even
Yeah.
if it's on like some base level of intelligence,
Yeah.
right? Like the smallest scope possibly conceivable, it is still a computer that is capable in accessing the internet.
Yeah.
So its ability to, again, just, even if it's still just mirroring its information,
Yeah.
it can still develop a bias because it has just, it's,
Well, I mean,
that's,
the ones we
that's-
have already do develop biases.
But that's what I mean. It's 1 degree away. And if that's something, if we're talking about these organizations and companies and whatever entity
Yeah.
having and working to pursue this, and again, that's something we're not managing for restrictions, right? Like it's a whole new science. We don't know where the cutoffs are, where the danger points are. We're not asking the question. We want to get it done and make money.
Look, when it comes to science, there are no cutoffs. Even if you, even
That's
if
a fair point.
if the government is just like, no, you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Guess what? The government will take the scientists that were doing that and then bring them to a black site and then have them do it
Yeah.
because they don't want to stop science. Period.
Yeah.
So at this point, there's no point in being like, oh no, you guys can't, give an AI no parameters and quantum computers.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna do it no matter what.
Absolutely.
But it's not because it's gonna be an Ultron scenario. It won't happen. It just.
I think that's a bold statement, Cotton. I think that's a super bold statement. Again,
You can just EMP it.
But that's what I'm going to be investing in and trying to figure out how to make. That's where I'm going to invest all my time into learning science, is how to build a fucking EMP to fight off the robot apocalypse.
Dude, you can just like rub your feet against carpet. Just
No!
it's just like the Avengers. You guys are fucking up. Just like fuck you, Ultron.
I don't think that's how it works. No. But I mean, I don't know. It's a very ominous situation. Again, knowing that what we know about is always behind to some degree of where certain groups of super smart people are at. And that ability in computers is so capable of processing information. Once we get to quantum computing.
Have you seen those leaked videos of I think it's NSA and their satellites?
No.
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 It can track. I forget the exact number, but I think it can track live something like 300,000 people.
That's insane.
And like it's a live map shooting downwards, and they can track people. It's a leaked video of it. It's fucking insane.
That's crazy.
But that's NSA has that, not Black Site.
Yeah.
Not Area 51 type shit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we should definitely talk about aliens.
You wanna
Not
talk
right
about-
now, but we can. Yeah. So that took a really weird turn from Bill-C11.
It's okay.
How are they going to silence the machines?
How they gonna silence the machines again? Like I said,
No.
like, bye Ultron. Little bitch.
This is why I'm nice to Alexa all the time. Either way, no matter how the dice fall, I'm protected. 'Cause I say good morning to her every day. I say thank you when I ask for something.
Alexa always sounds kinky to me in her voice, so
Yeah.
I always treat her like shit. Every time she talks, shut up, Alexa.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish you had a face so I could slap it. Leave it in.